Who is you? Name keep floating in the static. Cleaned up, call background frantic. Toe line bilge pump sinking. Somebody mutter, ear still blinking. Warren said he called you that morning. Boat pulled up, sun still yawning. But official pages stay blank. No mug shot, no rank, no thank. Bark, bark, bark. Oh, who is you? Bark, bark, bark. What they claim you do. Shadows on the water, name in the air. Everybody looking, nobody there. Bark, bark, bark. Oh, who is you? Social media turned detective. Audio engineer, play selective. I hear it plain, they say in the comments. Front of the room, pressure getting torrents. But the sheriff still quiet, DA still sealed. Grand jury waiting, truth still concealed. Phone came back, messages gone. Family still waiting for the real song. Bark, bark, bark. Oh, who is you? Bark, bark, bark. What they claim you do. Shadows on the water, name in the air. Everybody looking, nobody there. Bark, bark, bark. Oh, who is you? Is you the boat? Is you the friend? Is you just a whisper that won't end? Or just another rumor in the dark? While a mother's still waiting for the spark. Who is you? Bark, bark, bark. Tell the truth if it's true. No more shadows, no more game. Just the facts and the real name. Bark, bark, bark. Oh, who is you?
Right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your second dose of your daily vitamins. And shout out to Truth Brown for that selection. Bart, you might as well turn yourself in, bro. You might as well come to the front. You need to come outside. Okay? Bart has got some splaining to do. Let's get ready to get into it. Let's get ready to get into it. All right, let's see who all is in here. Jaden, the infamous Marty Mar Pearly. Okay, needed to Mike Swirl, Mr. Elevation, Truth Brown. Let's get into it. Danielle, everybody hit that like button. Mel is here. All right, Nubia Ra. Let's get it popping. The Messy Channel Show is here. All right, OG Patrice, Mr. Elevation. All right, Bungani is here. Okay. Let's get into it. Leon, wait, no. Gemini. All right, y'all know I love my loyal royals. Trisha is here. Youngest Turner, Pretty Wings. Kay is here. All right, Nellon. Let's get it popping. You all, they are doing the absolute most. They're doing the absolute most. I mean, all these lies coming out. They're talking about Nolan was on Coke. You know what I'm talking about? Coca-Cola, not the kind you drink. Oh my goodness, these people are something else. They're talking about he was on heavy alcohol, but the toxicology report has not come out. We're going to get into all of it. We're going to get into all of it now. Hold on. Let me add Tisa Tails real quick because she'll be stealing my receipts as per usual. But so just to make it easier for her, let me tag her or hashtag her in my description. Okay, likes up. Everybody hit that like button. All right, let's get into it. Hold on, give me just a second. I'm about to hashtag her real quick. Now, let me tell you all something. For those of you, if you didn't see the last broadcast, you need to go back and watch. If you didn't see the one before that, you also need to go back and watch. This is effectively part 3. Let me add that on here. Okay, this is part 3. You all know I broke the story this morning. Hold on. I broke the story this morning about Bart, okay, looking hella suspicious because we know that Warren said his name when he was doing the interview. He didn't want to say it. And at one point, remember, someone, I can't remember who it was, they said that the video was clipped, it was edited. And you could tell at one point they clipped it right when he was about to say Bart's name. So let me just tell y'all something. Hey, Nolan, beloved, says, hoping we get a name change to Bars. Hello, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Okay, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. We're about to get it in because y'all, we got to get into these receipts. They are doing the absolute most, like I said, and it is such a shame. This just goes to show you the extent of hate and racism in this country for Black people, because this mother and father have lost their child and his life is gone, and they're sitting up here lying on him to protect the devils that may have had something to do with his demise. It is so sad, but we're about to talk about it. Let me get this together. Okay, so first things first, for those of you who missed it, earlier I showed the Coast Guard reports. Okay, I showed the Coast Guard report, and guess whose name was on there? None other than Bart Joseph Emerson Jr. But it's interesting because, as I told you all, Bart lied and said that he was out of town for a year in Wyoming. Okay, he was in Wyoming, but he was also at Horn Island. We heard what they said on that boat. Okay, this is the other part. Okay, because this morning I only showed you all one part. But with that being said, why is her name on the Coast Guard report? Didn't Warren tell us that he was the one who reported it to the Coast Guard? But hold on. Here is the new lie they're telling. Okay, and I'm calling it a lie. Okay, they say an email exchange between the Mississippi Department of Marine. Oh, hold on. Did I even give my? You didn't even play my I got so excited. I didn't even play my sponsor. Let's do that first, and then we'll get into it. Lights up, everyone, like and share.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. Okay, you can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, there we go. All right, so that all been said, let's get into these receipts. Y'all, I have been working so hard today, I have not had time to rest. Okay, I don't want to be on here too long. Now, here's the lies they're telling. An email exchange between the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources and the U.S. Coast Guard received by ABC News describes Nolan Wells' alcohol intake as heavy. Now, this information comes from witnesses who made the initial call to the DMR. The toxicology report, along with state's autopsy, are expected to be released or not expected to be released until it's presented to a grand jury. Okay, so here's why I have questions. How are they going to say that his alcohol intake was heavy? How do they know that for a fact? But hold on. Now, here's the thing. Someone is saying that the toxicology report is going to 100% prove that Nolan was on Coca-Cola. Now I want you all to pay attention. How would anybody know what the toxicology report is going to prove? How would they know 100% is going to say that? I think I know why. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. I think I know exactly why that would happen. Okay? Yeah, I know absolutely why. And I've told you all this more than once. Okay? Because somebody's father down there in Gulfport, Mississippi, deals in toxicology. And whose father is that? Warren's. Warren's father. Is he the one that's going to say that in the toxicology report? How are they 100% sure? Okay? How are they 100% sure? Y'all see it right there, medical toxicology. So is he the one that's going to do this to make it say that? Because there's no way you're going to convince me that this young man was doing illegal substances. Now, here's the kicker to the whole thing. If you all remember, I reported to you all weeks ago that some of the people, two of the people, someone named Alexa and someone whose name I believe was Pax, they were on TikTok lives, okay? And they both said that the group that Nolan was hanging out with was doing Coca-Cola. Okay, doing illegal substances. And then someone from Mississippi told me just a couple of days ago, and it wasn't true crowd, but it was somebody in Mississippi said that not only were they doing Coca-Cola, but one of them would turn into a whole demon when he was doing it, and everybody was scared of him. And I believe that person may have been Bart. Now, mind you, that's all speculation because I don't know for sure. They didn't say specifically who the person was. And even if they had, I wouldn't say it because I don't know that for a fact. But I want you all to pay attention. They are painting such a nefarious picture here. Okay, that's what they're doing. They're painting a whole bunch of lies, and we're going to get into it. Let me pull up this video because the main person who is saying this and spreading this nefarious lie is none other than Officer Rage Batum Tatum. Let's get into it.
That Nolan will have cocaine in his system. Now, again, taking into consideration, this is somebody telling me this. I'm not saying it's me. I'm not saying it. I'm not able to verify it. But from the sources that I'm getting it from has been consistent, verifiable sources thus far and hadn't been wrong about nothing. So there's a possibility that there's a person that Nolan may have been around or interacted with that is giving cocaine to people on this island, that Nolan may have taken the cocaine. And then also, I received a DM from someone DMing another person. Now, I'm trying to leave these names out because I want to not mess this investigation up. I think law enforcement already have this. That alluded to the fact that, and I messaged this person because I want to talk directly to the person that I saw the DM from. And we haven't talked to this person yet. But the person said in the DM to another kid that is associated, not any of the kids that I interviewed to talk to, but that could be associated to some degree, that knew Nolan, that this person wrote a message saying, me and my husband saw you arguing with Nolan, and to the effect of you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Now, the person did not say they saw a physical altercation. The person did not say what time they saw Nolan and this other person getting into an argument. Now, this is after Warren, their boat left. This may be somewhere around a little bit before 6, right around 6 or a little bit before 6 p.m. Now, according to the autopsy, which I interviewed a medical examiner about this, there is no evidence of blunt force trauma or an evidence that Nolan got into a physical altercation. So I'm putting all this stuff together, what people are sending me and all that, and I'm trying to find a neutral point to share with you. What I'm thinking at this point, with all that has been said, is that somebody knows exactly what happened to Nolan, or they saw him right before he died. I am not convinced that Nolan was just out there and drowned. It could be, that could have happened. But I'm more convinced now than ever based on what people have been telling me and DMs that I've been seeing, people that have been verified sources, that has to be something with this cocaine. There has to be something with Nolan and a girl. And there has to be something with Nolan potentially being in either altercation with somebody, which would lead me to believe that that person saw Nolan last.
Hold on, beloveds. Okay, because I'm uploading things at the same time. Now, I want you all to pay attention to how he's planting these seeds, how he's saying these crazy things. And he has no shame in his game. Okay, please pay attention. This man is nefarious. Okay, he is absolutely nefarious. Hold on, beloveds. Okay. Now, I'm getting these other receipts together, but while I'm doing that, I want you all to take a look at these videos. Hold on. And then I'm going to show you all the new investigative report that I have. Okay. Thanks to my friend Dennis Byron. He released this report earlier and then he sent it to me. Okay, so let's get into it.
Really starts to blow up and stuff starts coming out. It's getting dirtier and dirtier. I'd like to point something out that's really bothering me. It's really bothering me, and that is the cover-up of the entire thing. And I ain't just talking about the people in Mississippi that are involved in this. I see it nationwide. I'm all on social media. I'm watching comments. I'm watching lives. I'm watching videos of white people covering up for these killers, trying to make it seem like that it's not race. It's not about race. Oh, they didn't do it. Oh, they weren't even around. Oh, I've seen every excuse you can possibly think of online. And it's just disgusting. It truly is. And then there's some who, are openly laughing about it. They're happy. Yeah, that's what we do. They're cheering it on like, hell yeah. And this is the problem with racists. They're mentally ill, really dangerous people. And if you don't treat them as such, this is what happens. Those kids killed that boy. They took him out there and they killed him. And then they instantly tried to cover it up. We already know. And the state of Mississippi is covering it up for them. Absolutely. The racist POS state of Mississippi with all those just scumbags. They said, "Oh, this our people. We gotta make this go away." They're gonna do everything they can to protect their own. And that's the biggest problem with American racists. Is y'all are just trash. So don't drop the heat.
This is a darn shame that they're doing all of this and they have no shame.
To protect their own. And that's the biggest.
Junior is a chip off the old block. This is Dr. Bart Edmondson. That's right, Junior's daddy. So you have Bartholomew Jr. and Bartholomew Sr. But we're only going to be talking about Bartholomew Jr. Bartholomew Jr. graduated from Ocean Springs High School in 2023. That's right. Bartholomew Jr. is 2 years older than everyone. He more than likely is the person that helped supply the copious amounts of alcohol that led to underage drinking on July 4th. We were introduced to Bartholomew Jr. by none other than Warren Hudson. This is one of Warren's buddies that drove one of the 3 boats out to Horn Island that day. We also know him from something else.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
I know that people hear other things besides Bartholomew Jr.'s name being mentioned. I have listened to that audio without reading the transcripts, and the only thing that I can make out is Nolan's name, which is proof that he was on board when they made that call to see tow. Also, I want to point out, in this picture above, That is a picture of Wyatt's 22-foot Triton boat. It seats a maximum of 7 people. I just don't think that what we believe happened on that boat. I believe that whatever happened to Nolan happened on the mainland between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. We know that Trayson says that Warren started calling him around 9:15 saying he was worried about Nolan. That would mean that this infamous pool party picture would be from July 4th. And the reason I believe it's from July 4th is because the guy on the front row at the end, that is Bartholomew Jr. Bartholomew Jr. plays football for the University of Wyoming. And on June 26th and June 27th, when they say that this picture was taken, there was a fellowship for Christian athletes of Wyoming youth camp being held at the university. And that organization likes to recruit student athletes, has coaches and volunteers for that youth camp. That would explain the statement that Bartholomew Jr. made saying he was out of town. Clearly, he was not out of town on the 4th because we have heard his name mentioned in the audio of him helping to tow and get Wyatt's boat going.
And not only that, Wyatt clearly said that Bart was the one who pulled the boat. He already said it during that interview. So he was not in Wyoming. Okay, he was absolutely on Horn Island, July the 4th. Okay, please pay attention.
The only time he could have been out of town was on June 26th and June 27th, which would make this July 4th, and that is Nolan in the background. It also explains why Nolan's phone was showing 2 different locations. The Snapchat location was showing Ava Delta Delta Delta's house. That is where Javon's mom went to go get the phone. But the Life 360 app was showing a different location, which I believe was in Warren's truck at his bio mom's house, which is 10 minutes away from Ava Delta Delta Delta's house.
They had his phone. And when his mother was looking for his phone when he was missing, there were 2 different ways to identify it, either a Snapchat location or a Life 360 location. They showed different locations, which is very possible because one updates automatically, the other only updates when you open the app.
And there you have it. Bartholomew Jr. is never too late to do the right thing.
Hey, yo, Tristan said, y'all don't know who you're messing with. Y'all don't know who you're marching with. He said, you don't know how close-knit Ocean Springs. No, we know how close-knit Ocean Springs is, motherfucker. That's why we down there. Because we know how close-knit it is. It's so close-knit, you don't even know you black.
Make that narrative up really shows you have no idea what it's like down here on the coast.
You have no idea. That's what you are. You're nothing different than me. It's just that you happen to have some white in. I don't have white in me. But we look the same. We present the same. And if you're telling me that it's about Ocean Springs and it's about being a collective and being together and supporting one another, Nolan was Ocean Springs through and through, baby.
And that's how Nolan lived. That's how I live now.
Through and through. Warren told us that y'all watch Officer Tatum and all them. Y'all probably watch Charlie Kirk. Y'all probably with all the fuckery, you MAGA. We get it. That's why we down there. That's why we paying attention, bro. That's why we got our eyes on this shit. So even though you believe that we don't know, we know. The problem is, ain't nobody scared of nobody in that little small funky ass town but y'all. But we coming. We coming. Stay woke. And furthermore, we understand the impact, the adverse impact, how double-minded the dominant society can make you, especially when you grew up in one of them small towns. They get you to reimagine reality. They get you to do things that are antithetical to your own existence. They get you to separate from the pack, right? We know that. That's why we down there. Because we know y'all don't know no better. I guarantee you his family probably don't even know any better. Y'all been gaslit and fucking inundated with so much anti-blackness that you can't even see your feet. You understand? We know. No, what you don't know is how much resolve the rest of us have. Because you see, you didn't grow up like that. You didn't grow up like that. You know what I'm saying? And we not racist, right? We're anti-racist. You know what I'm saying? And when did describing racism become racism? We coming. Stay woke.
Well, according to TMZ, Bart Edmiston Jr. is a football player at Ocean Springs, has already been investigated or questioned alongside Jerry Atkinson, the grandpappy, the one that personally called the captain and said, we don't need a tow. Apparently, the GPS for his boat was pulled alongside with the other GPS for the other boat. Jennifer Pyron was also pulled in for questioning alongside Jerry and Bart. Now, if we listen to this clip from Warren Hudson himself, he says that he was on Bart's boat and that Nolan was not.
What was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go. I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was probably ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line. So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then eventually my buddy Bart on the tide line is like, I'm going to pull y'all out. Eventually Bart pulls us out. We left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, Bart's port side cleat or starboard side cleat, and he was on our starboard side bow. And so it was rubbing on his power pole. So Bart turned around, pulled up next to our boat, and we were just trying to get it situated. So that's when Wyatt called Cito. And Wyatt was like, calls him.
You're around the Cito, right? You guys called it in.
Right.
They have that record of you guys, making that emergency call.
Right.
But then there's this, I guess, graphic of you guys traveling at a slow speed. Then all of a sudden you accelerate.
Right.
People are saying that that's an indication of something afoot or foul play.
My buddy Bart drove his boat up next to ours after he pulled us out away from the island, and then he towed us a little more. Well, when my buddy would put the boat in gear and forward, the motor would come right back up. The captain of the boat got in the water, pulled the plug out the boat, got back in the boat, and hit it. And I mean, that's why we came to a stop, so he could jump in the water, pull the plug, and then we hauled in. There was no stopping, because if you do stop, the water starts coming back in the boat because the plug's out. So
there's nothing nefarious there. It's just a formality of trying to unplug the boat and
absolutely not.
Get it docked properly. All that has gone on, if Nolan was here, what do you think he would say about all this?
If Nolan knew this was going on, he'd be sick to his stomach. I mean, Nolan hated all hate.
But again, are we taking Warren's word for it? I don't know. Y'all are going to have to listen and tell me what y'all hear. But I know what I heard in that audio, in the full enhanced audio. Now, I know that I heard somebody said, damn it, Bart, in that audio that was enhanced by an engineer. Now, TMZ has the audio, but they have a chopped version of it that they put out and said that they got this audio directly from the call. But Jeanette went ahead and did that audio thing on it, and she enhanced it to where we can hear the isolated conversation going on in the back. I'm not telling y'all what to hear. All I'm telling you is what I hear. And I'm telling you what I know, because if this was a group of black kids, baby, that phone call would not have even been necessary to hear before they were put in jail. So this right here should be enough to incriminate some motherfucking body. Because even if what happened was not nefarious in the intent, the covering up of it is. And Tracy gonna sit up there on that interview talking about, oh, Ocean Springs takes care of Ocean Springs. The fuck does that mean, little boy? And then want to turn the conversation against the mama. You are talking about this boy being your best friend, and you got all this energy, all this pent up anger for the mom of your so-called brother. See how these boys have no interest, no urgency, no concern about what happened to Nolan, because they know what happened to Nolan. Their concern is making it look like it was an accident. Their concern is making it out to be like they are innocent and cleared of all wrongdoing. Nobody did nothing wrong. But let them boys keep talking, because they keep on telling on themselves. Let them keep talking, because the more they talk, the more they dig a hole. The more the math ain't mathing.
Shout out to our top flight detective of the world, because he has once again broken this case wide open. Officer Tatum, come on down. Now, Mr. Tatum, you posted this photo here showing the boys and 2 women over here, 7 people on the boat, out in the middle of the water, and someone who appears to be taking the photo. I can assume that is probably Bart, allegedly, but you didn't let us know that because they never reversed that photo to show us who was on that boat. Yeah, buddy, you opened a whole new can of worms with this one. Let me explain very briefly. Who in the hell is panicking about your boat sinking and you have enough time to record it? Damn, I would almost be stupid enough to think in my head that would equate to an alibi. And you're trying to say, well, Nolan wasn't on the boat. Well, we don't see the other boat, so we don't know where Nolan could be. That doesn't suffice for me, my boy. Because it's proven our audio isn't fake. You can mono it. You don't even have to do all the altering. You can mono it. Get some good headphones. Don't use some Apple AirPods. Those are cheap and they don't have the same signals. Go get some $200 headphones, brokies, and put it over your ears and listen. And you'll hear it clear from the original audio from what? MRDR, whatever y'all know it's from. So shout out to Officer Tatum for doing the job of the people, making these boys continuously look guilty. Now I just have one question. Can we get the GPS data to Bart's boat? I'm very curious if we can get that information. That might tell us a lot.
I find it interesting that they're releasing evidence or sharing evidence in the Nolan Wells case for several reasons, but most importantly, because the district attorney, Angel, just said this to us about why we don't have answers or any evidence in the case of Nolan Wells.
I also understand that many people have questions about why more information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation. Our restraint in communicating facts and evidence is not an effort to keep the truth from the public. It is an effort to protect the integrity of this investigation and the grand jury proceeding.
Now, all of a sudden, people who are close to investigators are hearing directly from investigators and local officials that Nolan Wells was seen at least 6 p.m. on the island. And who is it coming from? Who are the people that are telling us this? And now all of a sudden, they're saying that he was extremely intoxicated. Well, there's 2 things wrong with that. Number one is that his friend Warren got on here and told us directly that Nolan was fine. 2 is that there's still no autopsy from Mississippi. Where is the toxicology that would show us that he was so inebriated? And again, where are the missing parts of his throat? So is it that you all are trying to protect the investigation, or are you continuing to try to cover up for something that we all know happened? We want to know.
Yeah, we absolutely do want to know what's really going on here. Okay, what is really going on here? The lies and the cover-up run so deep, it is literally crazy. Now let's go to this report that came out today. It says Mississippi Attorney General says those who threaten investigators on the Nolan Wells case will be held accountable. Now, who is threatening the investigators? Okay, you would have to be a whole fool to do that. But this is what they're reporting. Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch released a statement saying her office will hold accountable anyone who threatens law enforcement, okay, involved in the Nolan Wells investigation. Saying that I am proud of the professionalism with which our law enforcement, district attorney, and other local leaders are approaching this tragic case. During an open investigation, it is vital to vital to the cause of justice that everyone respect the integrity of the process. Well, we would if the process had any integrity, but it doesn't. Okay. Now, efforts to goes on to say efforts to intimidate, disrupt, or interfere with the work of our law enforcement and prosecutors and threats to their well-being will be taken seriously. We will hold those accountable. Okay, we will hold those who hold those. Hold on, this is a typo. We will hold those. We will hold those who make them accountable. That's what it should say. Now, a bright young life has been lost, and we extend our prayers to his family, she says. First of all, somebody's threatening law enforcement, somebody's threatening the investigators. I don't know if I believe that. These people are coming out of the woodwork with all kind of crazy things. Now, Marie says that sounds strange, wasted and rugging when he has tryouts on Monday. Exactly. Okay, don't they get rug tested with their health screening? Yes. They absolutely do. So what are the chances of him doing something like that? Slim to none. Now, I will say this, since we've heard already, and I reported about 3 weeks ago, that those other guys that he was hanging out with were doing illegal substances, that has already been alleged. I would have to venture to say that if there is anything in his system, did they give it to him? Did they put something in his drink? Did they do anything nefarious? Okay, I just have questions. And also, how could they be 100% sure when the report hasn't even come in? Like, did you literally see him doing this, or did you give it to him? Okay, without his consent. I just have so many questions. And Officer Tatum should be ashamed of himself, but I know he isn't, but he really should be for painting these nefarious narratives. The family needs to sue him because even though he sits there and tries to say, oh, I'm not saying this, someone else is telling me this. Well, at the end of the day, he's planting the seed. Truth Brown said, Kate and Barter on a whole picture together. I'm trying to get it. Yeah, I did see that picture. I think I already have it. Okay, I think I already have it. So that's what was reported earlier. This was they broke this story about Katie and Bart on TikTok yesterday. I only saw like one person post it, so I'm not sure. But I saw that on TikTok it was like 21 hours ago. Hold on. But like I told you all, people put out false narratives, so I wasn't sure because I didn't see anybody else talking about it. Where is that picture? I have it somewhere. I'll go to that in a second. But with that all being said, this is just all crazy. So let's go to these documents. Hold on, beloveds. I'm going to cut my camera off for just a second. Now, we're going to look at these documents. And like I said, shout out to Dennis Byron, because that's where I got these documents from. He sent them to me today. He already went over them this morning. He broke this story because this is never before seen. Okay. So everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now let's get ready to get into it. Okay, here we go. Let's get into it. Okay, this is the station complaint. Now, mind you, this is not the Coast Guard report that we saw earlier. Okay, so this is from the investigative report. Okay, supplemental investigative narrative. Primary officer is Shay Smith. Reporting officer Jacob Strickland. Supervisor Michael Strickland. Okay, so with that all being said, hold on. Oh, okay. Thank you, OG Patrice. OG Patrice just sent me that picture of Katie and Bart. Okay, so thank you for that, beloved. I appreciate you. Now, here's what it says. On July the 5th of 2026, received a call from Captain William Freeman regarding a missing person interviewed Lainey Naquin in Pascagoula. Now, who stated she was in Petit Bois Island, not Horn Island, conducted checks on Jacob Woods and Drew Johnson. Now, I don't know who all these random people are that they're naming. Okay, made contact with Jennifer Pyron. Now, Jennifer Pyron, what I would assume would have to be Wyatt's mother, because Wyatt's last name is Pyron. Okay, it says that Wyatt's Pyron's Garmin GPS showed the vessel at the western tip of Horn Island, okay, on July the 4th. Okay, now the Jackson County Sheriff's Department is taking lead on the investigation. They say they have already spoken to Bart as well. Now, that was reported earlier that several people have been questioned, okay, during this investigation, and allegedly Bart was one of them. And I have several questions. I'm still trying to figure out why Warren sat up there and told that whole lie, okay, about that darn Coast Guard call when it looks like Bart's the one who made it because his name's on the report. Okay, now listen to this. This is a non-criminal report. Okay, Officer Jacob Strickland did this on 7/13/2026 at 11:25. Okay, so here's what it says. On July the 5th of 2026 at approximately 11:55 hours, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Office of Marine Patrol, Master Sergeant Jacob Strickland received a call from Captain William Freeman to locate and interview a female subject that was possibly involved with a missing person on Horn Island. Now, Officer Jay Strickland reported to the residents of Laney Nequin, Pascagoula, Mississippi, who was initially reported to be on Horn Island with the group of people associated with Nolan Wells. Now, when interviewed, Naquin stated that she had already spoken with Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators and stated that she was not on Horn Island, but in fact was on Petit Bois Island with a different group of friends. Naquin stated that she knew Wells, but had not seen or spoken to him in over a year. So why would someone say that? Why would someone say that? It seems like they were trying to muddy the waters. Okay, why would they try to place her there and act as though she had something to do with it? Okay, I have several questions. Now, anyway, Officer Strickland followed up on some other possible names associated with Wells that may have seen him at Horn Island that day. Jacob Woods of Ocean Springs, Mississippi, was not at home when Strickland checked his residence. Officer Strickland reported to the residents of Drew Johnson, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, and no contact was made. Now, at approximately 1630 hours, Officer Strickland contacted Wyatt Pyron's mother, Jennifer Pyron. That's exactly who that is. I hadn't read this, you all, just to let you know. Okay, who stated that Wyatt had already taken to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators, or had already spoken to the Jackson County Sheriff Department investigators earlier in the day, but would cooperate in any way that they were needed. Officer Strickland was given verbal consent to view the Garmin GPS on Pyron's vessel. Now, Officer Strickland observed the track lines showing Pyron's vessel location on Horn Island to narrow down the search area for Wells. The GPS displayed that the vessel was located near the western tip of Horn Island for the date of July the 4th of 2026. Now, Officer Strickland was notified that the Jackson County Sheriff Department was taking the lead on the missing persons investigation. MDMR officer would be in a supporting role for the remainder of the investigation. Y'all, the thing that concerns me the most is that toxicology report, because I think that something shady is going on here with the whole thing. If someone is saying they 100% know, that leads me to think that they're going to plant some evidence. Okay, I'm not saying they're going to, but that's what that leads me to think. Okay, because where is this all coming from? Where is this all coming from? Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, let me pull up OG Patrice's information, but also we have got to hear what this former Army or military interrogator had to say about the interviews. OG Patrice, thank you for this again, beloved. Okay, here it is right here. They said Bart used to date Katie. Now I'm going to share my screen. Like I said, this was on TikTok yesterday, but I wasn't sure if it was somebody trying to muddy the waters or not. Someone posted this of Katie and Bart. This is what it says on the caption. Someone posted this. This is Katie and Bart. But you know what? Tisa Tales just reported this as breaking news. Now, if I was to pull up her video right now that she did today earlier, you would see a replica of the video that I did this morning. That's exactly what you would see, because everybody already sent me the video and I was cracking up. And they say that people were all in her chat telling her Queen Shakur broke this story 2 hours ago. And they said she must have blocked my name from the chat because other people said they were trying to put it in there and it wouldn't even show up. Absolutely nefarious. And that's why I hashtagged her in my description. Okay. So with that all being said, it looks like the fact of the matter is just what I said this morning. Okay. It looks like, and then, and Marie, I'm glad you brought that point back up, beloved, because I had said that like days ago, like maybe a week or two ago, when I first heard the people on the TikTok live that are from Ocean Springs saying that the people were doing illegal substances, because someone asked the question, do you think they got mad at Nolan because he didn't want to do the substances? And then the girl said yes, because they were trying to get him to do it. One of them said they were trying to get Nolan to do illegal substances, and he was like, no, I'm not testing positive. Okay, so the lies have already started. Now they're trying to blame everything. Listen, remember, I keep telling y'all this. I know y'all are probably tired of me saying it, but every accusation is a confession. You see, this is what MAGA minions do. When they accuse somebody of something, you can best believe, okay, you can best believe that it's something that they're doing. Okay, that is something that they're doing. This is absolutely egregious. Absolutely egregious. But hold on. Because the fact of the matter is, I absolutely believe that Bart is the one that did it. And like I told you all earlier, he was the hometown hero. And I believe that if there is anything found in Nolan's system, that they did it. Or could it be that someone's father who deals in toxicology could just doctor, alter, or lie about the toxicology report? That could absolutely happen. Okay. And I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying, for somebody to act like they're so certain, okay, that definitely arouses my suspicion. Please pay attention. Now, let's get into this video that Don Lemon did where he interviewed this guy from the military. And I happen to know this guy. His name is Jolly Good Ginger. Okay, says Army interrogator breaks down friend's interview and pathologist analyzes autopsy. Okay, shout out to Don Lemon, honey. He's getting it in. Now, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. True Brown said, Weird 2 better sit down and stop lying. Queen said it first. Thank you, beloved. And Truth, you need to tell them how she struck your channel on TikTok. Let me tell you all something. She's so desperate to get the clout and the recognition for my research. Truth Brown did a video posted on TikTok yesterday saying that, you know, big YouTubers out here lying and acting like they reported stuff first and shouted me out, right? Don't you know that they took down the video and said that it was harassment? And that's because Tisa struck it. I want y'all to pay attention. She struck that video because she didn't want the truth to come out. But we already know the truth. We've been knowing the truth since the Diddy trial. She's always been copying my receipts. That's how I even found out who she is. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Now, I'm going to put an overlay on this. So I just debunked her. Tisa Tells, if you're listening, I know you are. I just debunked you. The lie that you told about Bart dating Katie, that's not even true. That is not Katie in that picture. So cut the cap. Okay, cut the cap. People want to know the truth, not lies and deceptions.
Mississippi, it is a small town environment. It is truly one of those Hallmark movie towns, at least this is my outsider perspective, where
I think this is the pathologist. Hold on, beloveds. I have not watched this. I just saw Jolly Good Ginger on there. Okay.
That's why he can't go and get everything. And the Mississippi medical examiners has to do their part and has every right to wait and then decide what they're going to release. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Again, the time that we want everything to happen on is not the time in medicine, especially in pathology. And when it comes to giving the answers to a family, you want them done right? You want them done correct, you want them done thorough, and you want them done by the book. Second of all, we as pathologists, we document everything. Interpretation is where a lot of things go awry, right? Where we see one pathologist give a different interpretation of something else, but the facts are still the facts. The documentation is there. We will see the pictures. We will see what happened as far as the neck dissection. We will see what happened as far as the lungs, all of that stuff. But unfortunately, it's going to take time. And I'm glad that we have a second autopsy. All of us need to know that second opinions, second evaluations are necessary. And I'm glad it's happening.
Doctor,
Yes.
thank you. We got some
Thank
great
you.
information. I appreciate
Yes,
Will you
nice
come
meeting
back,
you.
please? Because we'll be getting more information. Yeah, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for
Definitely.
coming on. Thank
Definitely.
you. Friend of the show here, Jolly Good Ginger, activist, content creator, and as I said, friend of the show, our original Washington, D.C. correspondent, Jolly Good Ginger. Jolly, thank you, my friend.
Of course.
In your former life, as we've been talking, you were an Army interrogator, right?
Yes, sir.
So you are trained in this. Explain to us what's happening.
So something I don't talk a ton about on my channel because it doesn't come up. But yeah, that's what I did for 13 years. I was a human intelligence collector. I was a trained interrogator, strategic debriefer. I have multiple certifications in things like scientific content analysis, which is where you look at the words people use, the verbiage, line count, stuff like this. Read interrogation technique, which is a technique in which we exploit and build timelines, things like that. I can go on and on and on. I have a ton of certifications. I did it for a long time, and I've done it in the real world. So something that I am trained to do is to listen to what people say, especially in an interview format, especially when we're talking about like an event in question, like what happened here. I'm able to listen to what they are saying and identify deception. I'm very good at it. Now, Don, for the purpose of being professional here, I want to point out that in my line of work, when I say deception, I don't mean you're lying. That doesn't mean you're lying. That means you're being deceptive. Let me explain the difference. People are deceptive for tons of different reasons, right? Maybe I'm being deceptive because I don't want my wife to know I had a beer tonight, right? Like, or maybe I'm being deceptive because I just don't feel like, maybe you're asking me, Don, you say, hey, Jolly, what'd you do yesterday? And I kind of give you a half-ass answer because I don't feel like talking about what happened yesterday because I'm just tired. I don't want to have this conversation. I'm being deceptive. So when I say that in this interview with Officer Tatum that his friend is being deceptive, I don't know what he's lying about, but he's not telling the whole truth. He's purposely leaving things out. He's purposely being deceptive, and it's blatantly clear to anybody who's trying to identify deception.
And so
now, to be fair, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, to be fair, I shouldn't say a deception isn't a lie. Deception is a lie, but I'm saying a lot of people will say, oh, you're being deceptive, then you're guilty. And that's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying this guy's guilty of any one particular activity. I'm just saying he's not telling the whole truth, and it's blatantly clear to anyone who's trained to identify it.
So you've been watching some of the interviews, and that is the conclusion you have come to about some of this, correct?
Yes, sir. And I can show you specific examples. I just did a full breakdown of the first interview. So the way Officer Tatum did this, and I believe he did it this way so he could monetize off of this event, which is bothering me, but he did it in like 17-minute segments. He interviewed this guy in like 3 different parts. The guy's name is Warren, and I just did a full breakdown of the first part of that interview. It's about a 45-minute video. If you're interested in my full breakdown, it's on my channel now. But if you want, I got a few examples from that video I can show you, Don.
You want us to roll the first number you gave us? The first
at the 348 mark. Yeah. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Then I'll explain it after we watch the clip.
All right, Warren, we had a chance to get to know each other over the last 2 days. Went out to Horn Island. So I've had an opportunity to talk to you about a few things. And the things that you've told me have literally blown my mind. But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story. To hear Nolan's story through his friend.
To hear Nolan's story through you. Listen, I'm going to talk a lot during this interview about how the interviewer, in this case, Officer Tatum, who I believe is a former police officer, and depending on what duties he had as a police officer. I don't know his resume at all. He may or may not have been trained in questioning and interviewing and interrogation. Some police officers are. And if he has been trained in interviewing and questioning interrogation, then he's doing this on purpose, or he's just doing it on purpose because he just understands interviews. But he's leading the listener, he's leading the interview, and he's leading the person he's interviewing, the interviewee. He's leading them along for things to be said that aren't being said. You can't tell, this guy can't tell Nolan's story. The evidence will tell Nolan's story, but not this guy. But anyway.
Now, didn't I tell you all days ago that Tatum was leading them when he's doing that interview? He's leading them to get them to say certain things to help paint the narrative. This is absolutely what he's doing. Okay, and I believe that someone down there in Ocean Springs, I don't know who, but someone has offered him money, in my opinion. I believe someone offered him money to do those interviews. Okay, why did they get in touch with him? Because they already know what type of person he is. Okay, but let's continue. Like, sub, everyone, please like and share.
Anyway, it's very important that he chose that language.
And it's not just you, it's a bunch of y'all. But, you know, some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's been threatened against their lives and all of the above.
It's very important that he said that because he is setting the stage. Why is he the one guy who came forward to tell the story? Because everybody else is scared to tell the story because they keep getting death threats from the internet. Warren's mom is a judge. This is calculated. You can't convince me otherwise. Warren's mom is a judge. And that's who they allowed to come on and break the silence first on a very safe, curated. Pause. That's what so I wanted to show that part before we show the next timestamp I gave you, which I believe was 10 something, because that just gets glossed over. Not a lot of people, even when I talked to you earlier, Don, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that was the judge's son? Because it's not a lot of people are picking up on the fact that the guy that they chose to break the silence on Officer Tatum's show, of all places to do this, is the judge's son. Now, why would that matter, Don? Because who better to coach you? Now, for official purposes, this is my opinion, but my opinion is she coached him on how to give this interview, what information to give, what to stay away from, where to go with the interview, because a judge, someone in that line of work who came up as an attorney, prosecutor, et cetera, would be well-versed in how to present information, especially in this format. Now, right after that, you don't got to play this part of the video, but right after that, he asked him, hey, describe Nolan to us. And this guy Warren, the judge's son, describes Nolan in the most generic terms ever. He says, we were best friends, like brothers, but then goes on to describe him very generically, which I point out in the video. But I want you to look at this timestamp right here to really show you where you start getting into it's 13 minutes, 14 seconds, where we really start getting into some deceptive behavior. Watch this. Watch this.
And you guys did more than just this year. It's a two-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together, that you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. Now listen to the answer. You heard the long, drawn-out, very pointed, very leading question. It was a poorly designed question, but it was on purpose. And so now listen to the answer, because the answer is not the answer.
You know, being from the Gulf Coast, there's boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, you know, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
you see what I want you to watch that. Watch the cut. They cut the interview. Very, very, very important. Watch this. Watch when he said Nolan was on the boat with me last year. Watch this. I'm going to back it up.
The Gulf Coast, go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And
you see that cut? Nolan was on the boat with me last year. Why? The point I want to point out there, and I say this in the video, why there? So when he talks about Nolan was on the boat, so prior to getting to that point of the interview, I point out that I don't believe this guy Warren is as close with Nolan as he lets on. If you go back and watch my breakdown of this interview, every time this guy Warren brings up Nolan, he brings up the friend group every time, because he says we're like brothers, but he never talks about Nolan in a intimate way. It's always in an associative way, a group way. And then in this interview, which is very important, Officer Tatum is trying on purpose to set the stage that this is such a close friendship and they always do this together. They always hang out. And this guy Warren says, Nolan was on my boat last year. And then the edit. You can go watch it. Edit. Why edit there? My opinion, this is my opinion. He said something after saying Nolan was on the boat with us last year, and Officer Tatum realized, his team realized, I better take that part out. So I think it's very telling. By the way, it's not the only time in the interview this happens. There's another part of the interview where he mentions Nolan, and they edit again. Again, they edit. And it's like, what is happening here that every time Nolan's name comes up, there's an edit? It's a little edit. You might miss it, but I catch it because I edit for a living. And it's very telling. And then I want to show you one more thing here. This, in my opinion, was the most important part of the entire interview. If you don't mind, Nick, that last timestamp, 39:30. There's a lot to go over here, but watch this. Watch this shit where he ends the first part of this interview, and it is, oh my God, red flag central.
Hundreds of people I knew out there.
I had to back it up because I need you to listen.
And I'm listening.
Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you.
I want you to notice there was a cut there too. Notice the cut right as he starts asking the question about Nolan. Warren gets uncomfortable again, and then there's an edit cut.
Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this.
That shit.
Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned
Tatum's trying to establish their friendship is so close. He said something to you that I would say is indicative of your friendship, because the words that Nolan said shows how close of friends you guys are. Listen to what it says.
Something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and
Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking. Once again, not Nolan and him.
You know, I grew up with Nolan, and
we're going back to growing up with Nolan. We just went backwards for no reason.
Nolan's, just all, like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan.
Why are we talking about Nolan's pictures? And what did he say to you? That was the question asked.
Picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan, and Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is.
That's how our friend group is. Not me and Nolan, just our friend group.
Jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We enjoy our time together. I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out
notice how he's making it very group general, because he knows that his relationship with Nolan.
Can I ask you something, Jolly?
Sure.
Do you think part of this is for clout? Like he's making himself closer to Nolan, one, because he's trying to establish some sort of credibility.
Yeah, credibility, right.
That he can speak to. Yeah, I can speak about Nolan because I know him. He's part of my friend group. He's one of my whatever, but he doesn't speak to him in a way that makes anyone feel like he actually knew him.
Correct.
In my opinion.
You're not wrong. You're 100% right. If you watch my whole video, right where you stopped right there, right after that, he finally gets to the point where what Nolan said to him that day, and he never says that Nolan said it that day. It's so what he says right there at that part of the interview, he says, Nolan was the type of guy who would, if you need anything, I'm here for you. That's just how he was. And what Officer Tatum is trying to make you believe through the way he frames the question is Nolan on the day, on July 4th, said to this guy, Warren, if you ever need anything, brother, I'm here for you. But actually, this guy, Warren, doesn't say that Nolan said that. In fact, multiple times throughout the interview, he says, I talked to Nolan and Javon, Nolan and some other guy's name he mentions. He never, ever, the entire interview, establishes any sort of credibility to me as a listener, as a trained interrogator, trained human intelligence collector, to believe him that he was actually a close friend with Nolan as he tries to present himself. I think he's doing that for credibility. I think this was entirely planned out by the judge and by Officer Tatum. You can't convince me that prior to this interview, his mother, the judge, didn't sit down with Officer Tatum and say, what are you going to ask him? What are y'all going to talk about? And then tell her son. There's a part of this interview, Don, that would blow your mind. He says, Tatum asked Warren, he says, hey, what happened when you guys all got on the boats and then you went out to Horn Island? From the time you left the boat dock to get to Horn Island, the time you were traveling, what were you doing? Listening to music and hanging out? What were you doing? And this is an important question because anytime you're investigating a specific event, the timeline of events is very, very important. You know what this guy answers, Warren, the answer he gives Tatum? Yeah, so we headed out and the waters were clear that day. Winds were about 3 or 4 knots. It was a great day for boating. No trouble. The waters were not troublesome at all. And on our way back, it was great too. It was just great weather. This was a day everybody's on. That's what he says. He goes on for about 3 minutes about the weather. He never once answers the question about what were you doing on the boat? It was a simple question. Were you just listening to music and drinking beer and chatting? What were you doing? He don't answer that question. He says the weather was nice. Now, I got to ask a question. Because if I was interrogating this guy, I would take a note of that and say, hey, that's deceptive. I asked you what you were doing and you didn't answer my question. Instead, you talked about the weather. That's going to be a red flag in my mind. He knows something I don't know. I don't know what that thing is. So let me find out. Why is the weather so important to you, Warren? Why are you bringing up the weather, Warren? Are you trying to establish credibility for a story that maybe there's some talk that there was something involved with Nolan's passing, and that if you can establish the weather was nice, then it couldn't have been us, or what's the point? I don't know either, Don. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that when I listen to the words you say, I can listen to what you didn't say. There's a point in the interview where he says, "Man, I could describe Nolan a million ways," but he doesn't. Right? Because listen to what he said. I could describe Nolan in many ways, but he never does that because he could, but he won't, he can't. And so this guy, in my opinion, raises more red flags than he answers. If you go, matter of fact, I'm going to send it to Nikki right now. I haven't done this yet. I haven't done the breakdown on this yet, but there's a part 2 interview. And at the 10-minute, 32-second mark, I'm going to send this to you, Nikki. This is the original video of Officer Tatum with this guy Warren. On part 2 of the interview, Don, they're on Horn Island. Because what Tatum's trying to do is make this guy's story so credible. It's so credible. I want you to watch this. Watch how he asked the question. Watch Warren's body language, and there's another edit. As soon as they bring up Nolan, shit gets edited again. It's incredible how it happens every single fucking time because they're making sure this guy answers correctly.
Or a glitch. Allegedly. All of this is allegedly another edit, but just, yeah, we'll see.
If it's a glitch, I'm a penguin. But yeah, it could be, I guess. I guess it could be. But no,
Andy,
it's at the
Hold on, Myron. Thank you for your contribution, beloved, and kind words. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
10-minute
for us.
10-minute, 32-second mark.
Downloading it.
You can go watch my video for the full breakdown. I'm about to do a part 2 breakdown as soon as I'm done with Don here. Don, the point I'm getting at is, and by the way, there's another friend that interviewed.
You tell me the point you're getting at, but why was this so important to you? Did you sit here and watch it and go, wait a minute?
Yes.
Is that why you, why you did this?
Yes. So I wasn't able to watch the interview like right when it came out. I've been had some other stuff going on. So last night I had some time. I said, let me go watch these interviews because that's something that always appeals to me as with my background. I want to hear what people say. I press play. I go into it open-minded. I don't know what the kid's going to say. I don't know how it's going to go. And Don, the red flags are just flying off the screen at me. Bam, bam, bam. He's not answering questions. There's a thing called line count. I described this to you before, Don. And once I
line or lying, L-I-N-E?
Line, L-I-N-E, L-I-N-E. I'm gonna explain to, if I explain to your audience, they'll be able to pick up on it. If I say to you, hey Don, what'd you do yesterday? You say, well, I woke up at 7:30, got to work by 9, worked till 12, because that's when we take lunch, 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, I went down to my favorite deli. I always go to the same one. I get the same sandwich. I love the place. I actually met my wife there 10 years ago. It just has a lot of sentimental value to me. I get the Italian sub and a bag of chips and a Diet Coke. I get it every day. Sat there and ate. While I was eating, this lovely couple was across the street in the park, and they were holding hands. It reminded me of when I first met my wife.
But that's not what I asked you, sir.
Right, but finished up my sub, went back to work at 1 o'clock, worked till 5, got home, watched TV till 9. If you listen to that story, his entire day is broke down in one-line segments. Got up at 7:30, went to work at 9, worked till 12, got off at 1, or got off at 5, watched TV till 9. But that 1 hour period, that 12 to 1 o'clock period, very, very detailed for no reason. That lets me know as an interrogator, I need to focus on that 1 hour, because for some reason you're adding too much detail and you're being deceptive there. If you watch this interview with Warren, he does that. He'll give you a piece of information, good piece of information, and then he'll go into these great details about me and my friends. We fish on these islands all the time. We're just big fishermen. Me and all my friends, we got boats. Everybody knows it. It's very detailed for no reason, and it doesn't answer the question asked, and it doesn't match his line count. When he talks about everything else, one line, then he'll go on this diatribe about fishing for 5 minutes. It's like, bro, what? If I was an interrogator, I would target that. This is deceptive behavior.
Roll it, Andy.
Okay. So it works really, really, really beautifully with makeup. Okay. Also, it lasted me.
And if you talk to anybody on the coast about this, they know that. Yeah. I mean, 4th of July, this is the hot spot. This is where people want to be. This is where people want to come out, hang out with their family and friends. And
people say that you guys just left Nolan behind. I've seen reports of.
Andy, back that up for me. Let me look at that.
Right before he asked the question about Nolan, they cut it, probably so they can make sure he gets his answer right before they ask it. That's my opinion.
They know that. Yeah. I mean, 4th of July, this is the hot spot. This is where people want to be. This is where people want to come out, hang out with their family and friends. And
people say that you guys just left Nolan behind.
And you might back up. You know how you know that, right? This after spending, I probably spent 10 years in edit booths, like getting my package on. You got to get this on the air. It's the lead, or whatever. No, back up. Blah, blah, blah. And so what you do is, and again, in my opinion, and we don't know, we're not saying anything about this young man that he's guilty. You're relying on your expertise as an Army and former Army interrogation officer. So listen, innocent until proven guilty. Not that he had anything to do with it, even about whether he's being deceptive or not. Okay, let's say that. But if you keep an eye, and if you back it up, when you want to know if you have a jump cut or if something is out of sync, what you do is you look at the stationary object, the one that is either the biggest stationary object there, to see if that stationary object moves. Now take a look at the lower left hand of your screen next to the pink shirt at the log that's on the beach. Keep an eye on that log. That will tell you where the edit is.
I mean, 4th of July, this is the hot spot. This is where people want to be. This is where people want to come out, hang out with their family and friends. And
people say that you guys just left Nolan behind.
Now what? I want you to watch, listen to what this is very important. I want everybody to listen what Tatum asked him, and I want you to listen to his answer in full. No, you don't even got to back up. You don't even got to back up. Listen to what Tatum asked him, and just let it play forward. When he gets to talking about Nolan, he starts grabbing his shirt. He pulls it up. It's really odd. It's really odd behavior. Watch it. Press play.
You guys just left Nolan behind. I've seen reports of people saying that you just left him. I see reports of people saying that you asked him to get on the boat. You told him to get on the boat. He didn't. What's the truth in that?
Well, Wyatt was having boat issues, and the bilge wouldn't pump. So the bilge is basically a pump that releases water from your boat when water comes in. So I opened the back hatch and there's water up to the batteries. And that is obviously not good. There's water almost coming over the transom, which is where your motors sit, and which is by the stern, like in the back part of the boat. So obviously we were in emergency.
He's grabbing his shirt.
We're trying to save the boat. It's not like we didn't pass Nolan, or we just left
cut in the middle of his answer.
No, I didn't see that. But again, it could just be sloppy editing.
But why edit in dead middle of his answer when he's given us the most important part of the interview? What happened?
Usually, I will tell you, unless if you're intentionally being deceptive, that's one thing, and I'm not saying that is happening, but also they could be trying to just to condense what he said, right? To tighten up what he said for time's sake. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree with you, but let me give you my take on it. In my opinion, the reason that Tatum's interviewing this guy is why? Because this guy has firsthand knowledge of what happened that day. He was there. He's Nolan's friend. That's the whole narrative, right? So the most important question you're going to ask, he just asked, what happened that day? People say you left Nolan behind. What really happened? First of all, in his answer, he starts off talking about we had boat trouble, bilge pump, blah, 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 blah. I don't like where he started his answer, because where you start your answer tells me a lot about your answer as an interrogator. So he started off kind of not even really answering the question. And then dead middle of his answer, it just jump cuts to this other part of the answer. If you're here to prove a point to the larger audience, this guy is not being deceptive, then what you do as the interviewer say, hey, not to cut you off, but let's get back to what I was saying, because I want people to hear your answer. You would do it as the interviewer, not through editing. Yeah. I think they're editing things out that he said that they don't like what he said. And to your point, Don, I want to say what I said earlier. What I said earlier. I'm not saying the guy's guilty of anything, because I don't listen. I've seen the timeline. I've watched the press conferences. I've seen the evidence. I've listened to everybody talk. I don't have enough evidence on my end to say he did anything. But what I do feel like is that this was a very scripted interview. It was very curated, very presented to us in a very particular way. This guy avoids answering questions damn near like a politician does. He's very deceptive in his behavior. So my question has to be, as a trained professional, why are you deceptive? What happened? What are you being deceptive about? I'm not saying you're guilty of anything, but I would like to know why you're deceptive. And I feel like he's been, told to say, hey, say these things, stick to this script, say these things within these parameters, don't answer shit else. That's what I feel like.
Okay, so someone said, Don, when I keep saying allegedly and whatever, this is their said, Don, you do not work for CNN anymore. Yeah, that's why I'm saying that. Before I was good, you know what I'm saying? So the other thing is, that I've been asking, I've been thinking this, and I forget to ask every time because people go on, and my mind just wanders sometimes. Why? Because he was saying in that interview that Wyatt or whoever he said was having boat issues. And someone said in the chat and reminded me, why would you tell people to get on a sinking boat or a boat that the motor isn't working? Like, if he's there at the shore and he's having boat issues, would you get on that boat? It just sounds weird to me. I don't know.
Here's the weirdest part to me, Don. So number one, I listened to the call to the CETO operator, and I listened to the whole call. And a couple things stood out to me. First of all, he gives his coordinates. The guy on the phone, which I believe is Warren, actually on the phone, gives the coordinates to the location they are at. And I put those coordinates in Google Earth. I wanted to see myself. I said, where's these coordinates? So I punched it into Google Earth. It's about 700 feet north of the northwest tip of Horn Island. So it's right off the coast, right off the shoreline there, 700 feet. And northwest tip of Horn Island is where Nolan's body was found. So we know that their boat was there. And from listening to everybody talk about this, the locals, the different police officers, everybody talk about this area.
Hold on, let me just interject here for a second. Now, you all remember I showed you all that days ago because I told you that Horn Island is only 10 to 13 miles long, okay? And then when they said the body was found at the northwestern tip and they made the call from the western tip, I showed you all because they did report that they were in the same vicinity, and it's only 1 to 3 miles difference. Okay, so definitely, they absolutely did something. They need to just go ahead and come clean. Okay, they can't hide this anymore.
The northwest part of the island is also the roughest current. Like the roughest rip current happens right there on the northwest side of Horn Island. So that opens the door, Don, to your point with the sinking boat, for a lot of possible scenarios. The boat sinking, These are kids. These are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They're drinking. They're making probably poor decisions in an emergency situation. They call the CETO. You can hear all the conversation happening behind them. There was an audio engineer that broke down that conversation. There's a lot of people interpreting it for what they're hearing. But what stood out to me the most was after the CETO operator finishes talking to the guy on the boat, she switches over to the CETO captain. Hey, I got a guy here, needs your help. He's like, oh, dude, I just talked to that guy's grandpa.
His grandpa.
And he said, they don't need help. So literally 60 seconds before that, the kid was saying, hey, we need help. We're sinking. We're taking on water. We need help. Simultaneous, the guy's grandpa's on the phone with the captain saying, they don't need help. Cut that. Why? That doesn't logically line up.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
And then, by the way, if you read the data, MDMR released data from the boat's GPS. It shows that it ended up getting towed for, I forget how long. It got towed for like 300 meters or something. I can't remember how far it was. It got towed, and then its engine started back up, and it finished going back to the mainland on its own power. So somebody did tow it, but it wasn't CETO because the grandpa called CETO off. So why would grandpa call CETO off? Who came and towed the boat? These are questions that have to be answered that, in my opinion, are ever so important. And then the kids that were on the boat, this guy Warren, who voluntarily joined the show with Officer Tatum to talk about it, his entire interview is deceptive and full of red flags.
Jolly.
You ever wonder why your car starts smelling weird every summer? Watch this.
Man, you're a man of information. Okay. Charlie Barkley says hello. They know it's time. They're on clockwork. They're like little alarm clocks. They came down the stairs right at the top of the hour, and they're like, time to eat. Jolly, thank you. This is, great information. If you do another video, let us know. And again, I just want to say, point this out. This is just analysis, and the Jolly is relying on his expertise. No one is accusing anyone of doing anything. He's just analyzing what he sees in his opinion and from his expertise in the same. And all of it is allegedly. That's
allegedly. If you want to see my full breakdown where I explain exactly what I'm thinking, where I explain that it's all allegedly, it's on my channel, Jolly Good Ginger. You can go there. It's my latest video. I just put it up 5 minutes before I joined Don here. I'll be doing part 2 soon.
Jolly, can I show you something?
Yes, please.
I'm perfecting it. I have the news lounge. Have you seen?
All right, that's enough of Don. That was a good interview, and Jolly gave some very good information. Now, Cream and Sherry says, Queen, that Freezy is showing a chart of everyone involved, and they're all connected. You might want to get that chart. Beloved, I already have that chart. I showed that this morning. Okay, I broke that this morning. Okay, please pay attention. You're talking about this chart right here, I'm assuming. Hold on. Let me just put it on the screen. I'm going to assume you're talking about this chart right here. Yeah, I showed that this morning. And they absolutely are all involved. That's what I've been telling you all along. All of these people down there are interconnected. Like I told you all, these people go to church together. These people have lunch and brunch together. These people go on trips together. They play golf together. They're all in on it. Absolutely. I believe it 100%. Absolutely 100%. Okay, here's the rest of them. We went through this earlier. These people are a whole hot mess. They are really trying to seriously cover this whole thing up. But let me just say something. Hold on. Let me stop this share really quick. Hold on. There is another video I want to pull up. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Okay, here's the thing. After further review, I think that is Katie. I absolutely think that is Katie because I found another picture of her. Hold on. But I'm going to show you all this, though. Hold on. Now, this is what was posted to Facebook. I mean, to Instagram.
He's on the corner, they talking real loud.
Okay,
this is what was trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay.
Allegedly, he dated Katie, and he was on the boat with the other guys when Nolan allegedly disappeared. They took him home first. The narrative the narrative remains or something like that. I can't see what that says. But guess what? They said that Bart also has a house in Fort Bayou. Now, if you ask me, that would explain why the GPS data showed that they went to Fort Bayou twice. That would likely explain why the GPS data said they went to Fort Bayou twice. Didn't I tell you all something crazy had to have happened for them to go there 2 times? Didn't I tell you all what in the world is going on? Okay, but hold on. Hold on. Y'all know I be extra sketchy because people be putting out fake information, and we already know that Tisa be telling lies sometimes, so I have to second guess what she says. Hold on, who's texting me? Hold on. Let me see if somebody's sending me a receipt. Okay, that's not it. Hold on. This is all crazy. At the end of the day, whether it's the same person or not, the bottom line is, I think Bart did it. And Bart, you need to turn yourself in. Okay, and all of y'all that are lying, you need to come clean. Okay? They need to come clean. That's what they need to do. Truth Brown said Queen solved it. This is all crazy. Peasy says, please block D Major. Spam in the chat. Hold on. D Major. Why are you spamming the chats? Beloved, why are you spamming the chat? Now, you know you can't do that. I'm going to put you in timeout for it, too. Hold on. I got to put you in timeout. You cannot be spamming the chat. You know better than that. Okay? You absolutely know better than that. That's what trolls do. And you're not even supposed to be a troll. Okay? What's going on here? Desmond, do me a favor, or TC Dan. One of you see how long he's in timeout, because I can't see how long I put him in there. See how long he's in timeout. You can take him out and put him in for like 3 minutes. Okay? TC Dan or Desmond, one of you put him in there for 3 minutes. He needs to learn a lesson, because I already asked him the other day to stop spamming this chat. And the moderators did too. Okay, we're not having the BS. Okay, so now with that all being said, listen. I'm about to be out of here, okay? I'm about to be out of here. Thank you, Queen. D Major act like she been drinking. That's a guy. D Major is a guy. I don't know what's going on. Mr. Wyoming, turn yourself in when you return to Mississippi, okay? They know you speak the truth. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Listen, I really do think I cracked this case, because I told you all yesterday that there was something going on with Bart, and the fact that he was in the background audio yelling like he was upset, and then someone says, damn it, Bart. I think that's probably when he took Nolan out, because maybe that's why they said, damn it, Bart. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. At the end of the day, they absolutely need to go ahead and start talking. Somebody has to want that $125,000. Somebody has to want that $125,000. Okay, with that all being said, I'm about to be out of here. Listen, I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Okay, for those of you, shout out to the replay game. For those of you that are going to watch it on the replay, there's not going to be a chat, because I have to edit it, because one of those TikToks I showed, the guy said a word that I don't allow on my channel, and that's my own fault for not listening to the TikTok all the way through before I played it. Okay, so with that all being said, listen, I will be back in the morning. You all make sure that you tune in, because this stuff is getting really real. These devils are so busy sitting here talking about Nolan was on illegal substances, and the 100% the toxicology report will 100% show that he was. How can anyone say that and know it for a fact, and the toxicology report has not even been released yet? Okay, please make it all make sense. We're going to get to the bottom of it one way or another, but we already know that Bart, yeah, you're looking real guilty, buddy. You're looking real guilty. Okay, so with that all been said, listen, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Mississippi Delta, still crying the same tears. From Emmett to Nolan, how many more years? Copper blood in these waters, Most High see us here. Peace be still, but the truth gonna appear. Emmett Till, young boy whistling in the store. White lies turned to lynch and dragged him from the door. Beaten, shot river, swallowed him whole. Open casket, mama showed the world his soul. Nolan Wells, 18, boat ride on the 4th. Only black in the circle, now they say he drowned for. Horn Island whispers, friends came back without him. Mississippi history, still hunting, still doubting. Same state, same pain, different name. Black boy lost in the Delta rain. When will it change? Lord, when will it change? Ancestors screaming, we never left this stage. 1955, Chicago boy down south for the summer breeze. Money, Mississippi, wrong place for a black team to breathe. Brian stole maybe a whistle, maybe just a smile. Jim Crow code broken, now they coming in the night. Wow, Roy and Malone snatched him from his uncle's floor. Tortured that baby, fanti round, body in a Tallahatchie roar. Mutilated face, mama said let the world see. Acquitted by all white jury, not guilty, set him free. Sparked the movement, Montgomery rose from the flames. But the Delta dirt still holding black boys' names. Emmett was 14, just a child in his prime. Lynched for existing in a twisted mind. Emmett Till, Nolan Wells, Delta shadows ringing bells. Black life cheap in these haunted lands. Most High coming with justice in his hands. 2026 July 4th, independence gone wrong. Broke the Horn Island with the crew, singing freedom songs. 18 years young, big heart, only copper in the mix. Friends white as the judge that let killers walking. 55 disappeared that day, body found on the shore 2 nights later. They say drowning, no foul play, but the family know better. Questions swimming deeper than the Gulf water's cold. Why leave your phone? Why the silence from the foe? Mississippi again, history echoing loud. Been crunk, calling for truth, independent, autopsy proud. Was it accident or the past rising from the mud? Black boy with white friends, trust issues in our blood.
Why the same soil claim my sons? Ancestor never left. We still the chosen one.
From Till's open casket to Nolan's unanswered call. In time signs, Leviathan rising, watch the fall. No hate, just black love, we hold each other tight. But stop crashing out on each other and demand what's right.
Peace be still.
Through the storm we prevail.
Father's child.
We shall not fail. Both in Mississippi, Delta's cruel embrace. One lynched open, one body lost without a trace. Emmett's killers brag after the verdict came. Nolan's story fogged in speculation and shame. 14 or 18, young kings taken too soon. Waters claim the bodies, but the spirit touched the moon. Same fear, same doubt, same racist undercurrent flow. But we wiser now, cameras, voices won't let go. Indigenous copper, mountain builder stand tall. We walk together, ancestors answer the call. No more silent nights, no more cover graves. Justice for Emmett, justice for Nolan. Raise the blade. Tell now, but our spirit never failed. We got black love revolution now. Most High know my heart, make it right somehow.
Peace be still.
Peace be still. From Till to where